Hello, my name's Ken Licklider, and I'm the owner-operator of Von Lick Kennels in Denver, Indiana. We wanted to sit down and talk to people on a weekly basis about the past, the present, and the future, about what we're doing here at Von Lick Kennels and what we have to offer. Talk about dogs, talk about theory, talk about a lot of the things that I see from traveling around the world. I see that aren't being taught to new handlers, aren't being taught to handlers. And I think it's stuff that's very important. First off, I want to give you a little idea about the background of Von Lick Kennels. I'm retired U.S. Air Force. I retired as an E8, a senior master sergeant, in 1993. I went into the military in the 70s. And it was a very different time in what we thought we knew about dogs, a different time about how we'd been using dogs and how that was changing. And I was lucky enough to come in just after Vietnam when so many things changed. Everybody came back from Vietnam, and over there we used mostly defense-oriented dogs to guard the air bases, to guard the airplanes. These dogs were not friendly. They were designed that anything in front of them, they would let the handler know so that he could warn the people behind him. The Vietnamese were constantly trying to come onto the air bases and destroy the aircraft. So the dogs were different. We had been buying our dogs from civilians. We'd actually send out flyers. We'd go on television stations in big cities like Chicago and from California to New York, and we'd tell them that we would buy their dogs, that they'd bring them to us, and they'd come driving onto the base, and we would test them, and it was a load of fun, a lot different than what we're doing now, getting these dogs out of Europe. But we learned a lot, and we did all the training from the bite work to the detection. And with Vietnam ending, all the guys came back from Vietnam. They had access to just about everything: alcohol, drugs, and they came back to the States, and they didn't stop. Our bases were pretty rough, pretty rowdy, and the generals blamed it all on narcotics. I was there when this was happening. Lackland Air Force Base's Airmen's Club was one of the rowdiest, largest clubs in the United States, and I don't mean just military. There was everything going on. And the bosses blamed it on drugs, and it wasn't drugs, it was alcohol. But they said, we need to get some drug dogs in here. We need to clean up, our ranks. So we trained 500 new drug dogs and drug dog handlers. And we wanted them out quick. So Dr. Daniel Craig, who was the animal behaviorist at the time, he came up with a class that he knew he could get 500 people through quick. And when you do that, you design the course for not the sharpest tack. So a lot of the rules that were made to get these guys through this course, to get these dogs and these handlers out and to clean up the air bases. And not just the air bases, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. So they got out in the field, but when they got out in the field, the plan was for them to fix the things that we did in the class. We did these things in the class to get these guys through. You can't make it super complicated, or you're not going to get as many through as you wanted to. Some of the rules that Dr. Craig made, I'll give you an example. Walking backwards, working a detector dog. Walking backwards, blocking the thing you just told to go find what you wanted to find, walking backwards and blocking him. So every time he tries to go for it, you're holding him back. Just not the right thing to do. Why would you ever walk backwards looking for an explosive device? Why would you walk backwards looking for anything? But that's still being taught today. Right front headlight. Look at the dog handlers around you and say right front headlight to them when it means searching a car. What they're going to tell you is they know what that is. That's the starting point. Well, that's just utterly ridiculous. he did that so that these people could remember. So we had a commonality so that they could search a car. But starting at the right front headlight has no redeeming value. You want to start downwind. You want to know where the wind's coming from. Start downwind. Let the wind bring the odor to you. Starting at the right front headlight and searching the car institutionally at least 2 times. We go buy these crazy detection dogs. We teach them an odor, and then we cut them loose with a command to seek, search, whatever you're using, and then we block them. We hold them back. And then we institutionally go around it more than once. You know, our detective dogs, we know, have to have 2 strong drives. That's prey and hunt. Prey, final satisfaction, is to eat. That's why they will destroy their toys and eat them if you leave them with them. But hunt, the final satisfaction, is simply to hunt. If you watch a dog with strong hunt drive, he's going to hunt all day long. The final satisfaction of that is to be able to hunt. So we teach this dog an odor that he doesn't care about. We tell him to seek, and then we let him go around the room 2, 3, 4 times. Go around the car multiple times. There's no incentive for that dog to find it. He doesn't want to find it because when he finds it, it's over. He doesn't want it to be over. So we've got to understand the dogs. We've got to understand the things that we're teaching. We need to understand where they come from. And if you teach a good detective dog correctly, you don't have to go around a room more than once. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't say that this guy on this podcast said you can't go over things more than once. You can, but don't institutionally teach the dog that we're going to go around this room 3 or 4 times. I was teaching in Brazil, and they had real bomb dog people that found bombs. And the boss was a huge man, and he actually handled the dog. And while I'm teaching this very same podcast to them, you can see him getting upset. And I stopped what I was saying, and I asked my interpreter to ask him, is everything okay? And he said in his language, Portuguese, that his dog would find it, that he didn't have to do what I was saying, that he cuts them loose and lets them run around, and they find it on the first pass. I said, okay, do me a favor, go get your dog. And we set up an explosive hide in this huge room. We put it in a very easy spot on the side of the room, and we asked the guy to work his dog. And I knew what he was going to do. He cut the dog loose, and he stayed at the door. And this dog, you could tell, was a good dog. It took off around the room, passed up the explosives 1 time, went back all the way around again, passed it up again, passed it up, I think it was 6 times before I stopped him. I said, okay, now do what you would do on a real search. And I knew what he was going to do. He let the dog get back to him, and he started going around the room detailing. Well, the dog got within 5 feet of this explosive device, ran right over to it, and responded. That told us that he knew it was there the whole time, but it was waiting for the handler to do what he always did. And he ran around the room 6 times because that was fun for him. He knew there was no requirement for him to finish. But as soon as Daddy got involved, he went right back over to where he knew it was and responded. It upset the guy. He was pretty upset because he'd been working, and over there they're looking for real bombs. They're looking for stuff, and they're finding them. He changed his ways, and we're still friends to this day. What I'm getting at is understand the dog. Understand the rules that he's been taught. Know what his motivations are. Dogs don't care about bombs. They don't care about drugs. They want to work. They want to work a game with you, and they want to find this thing because you're going to reward it. Reward it with something that it cares about. So things have changed a lot. We went through a lot of things that were right for that class, but we had to figure out we needed to change. I retired in 1993, and I had a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, no job, no prospects. Retired as an E8. I'd been in it for quite a while, but I understood that there were some things needed out here. So I went to my wife and I said, "Hey, we're gonna start a dog school, and if it fails, we'll be the best fry cooks McDonald's ever had." But I was confident that we could do this. We got started. We sold dogs slowly. We built our place slowly, and Started out with 5 acres and a pole barn, and now we're up to 600 acres and kennels all over the world, California, Brazil, Turkey, affiliates in Holland. And we've just had a lot of fun doing it. We've tried to put out the best dogs that we can. If you come here to buy dogs, we have our own hotel, our own restaurants. You can stay here as long as you like. We want you to take your time. We don't get involved with you. We simply show you where you can test your dogs, give you vehicles if you need them. We try to make it a good experience for you. We're working dogs all over the world, like I said. And it's just a blast to work with people from different places. So everyone that comes in here, we don't want customers. We want partners. We want people that are fellow dog people. The things that we've been involved in have been phenomenal. We've trained with the U.S. Secret Service for the last 20-something years. They buy all their dogs from here. We helped establish many of the secret military programs. For 20 years, we put all the bomb dog teams with the numbered military army and lost nobody. We started a program called the TED program. That was started, I was over in Iraq walking the fields with some of these guys that were in charge, and they were talking about this new IED thing. And I said, why don't you let me train dogs and put them out in front of the mechanized units, out in front of the troops? They looked at me like I was, crazy. A few years later, I got a call from the Pentagon, and we established the TED program, which was 300 teams in Afghanistan, run by guys that we trained from different units. They weren't dog people. And then we put trainers in there, and it was the most successful program the Army ever had. Never lost a single person. 300 teams. We've done a lot of stuff, a lot of narcotics work around the world. We love it here. We have a good time here. We try to teach more than just, here's the dog and walk around a car. We try to teach the whys. A lot of theory in our classes. I teach around the world. I do a lot of seminars. Danny, my head trainer, does too. And we've even sent my son and Luis Rodriguez. He's done a few. But we try to get out there. We try to stay current. And we believe in keeping our eyes and ears open. I say this to everybody. The best dog people out there are the biggest thieves. The ones that are willing to listen to other people. And if they say something that's smart that they might be able to use in their programs, they indoctrinate it. They don't just sit on their laurels. They don't just do what they've always done. We change when change is good. We listen all the time. So we love what we're doing here. It's a great place. Spring, summer, and fall are wonderful. Winter's cold. But if you need good dogs, come on out. We'll take care of you. We'll back it up. Our guarantee is amazing, and we don't blame you for problems. We take care of them. So with that said, I just wanted to say hi. We're going to have one of these every week talking about different things, but I wanted to introduce myself, let you know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and where we're doing it. So be safe. Remember, this dog is just a force multiplier. You still got to be a good cop. Watch yourselves. The world has changed. The way people treat the police now, it's different. You guys really got to be on the ball and be a good cop and be a good dog handler. Military, same thing. All right. Again, I'm Ken Licklider, and I'm from Von Lick Kennels, and we're going to be talking to you once a week. Till next week, take care. Give us a call or come see us. Thank you. Bye.